Hey guys, it's Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense, continuing our GI Physiology series. In previous videos, we talked about the difference between slow wave rhythms and spike potentials. We talked about the enteric nervous system, we discussed mastication and salivation before. Today it's time for deglutition, which means swallowing. Mouth, oropharynx, esophagus. Let's go. Oh, by the way, in the beginning, swallowing is voluntary. You can stop it when the food is here. But once the food reaches your lovely pharynx, it's basically very hard to stop it then. Now let's get started. Please watch the videos in this playlist in order. As you know, your gut is under nervous and hormonal control. The exception is your mouth, which is only nervous for reasons discussed before. So mastication, purely nervous. Salivation, purely nervous. Even deglutition is overwhelmingly nervous. Your gut is all about mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Mechanical is motility. Thank you, my enteric plexus in the musculose, muscle layer. Chemical is secretion. Thank you, submucosal plexus in the submucose gland layer. In the mouth, mechanical is mastication and chemical is salivation. Pause and review. So we're done with the mouth. Let's continue. Don't forget, between the oropharynx and your esophagus is the upper esophageal sphincter at the esophago-pharyngeal junction. But then after you finish the esophagus, there is the lower esophageal sphincter at the esophago-gastric junction. Recall that the upper esophageal sphincter is way stronger than the lower esophageal sphincter. That's why they say that the upper esophageal sphincter is an anatomic sphincter versus the lower, which is mostly a physiological sphincter. Let me remind you of your anatomy. Do you recall the muscle cricopharyngeus, which lies at the lower border of the inferior laryngeal constrictor muscle? Yeah. This lovely cricopharyngeus muscle will wrap around the upper esophagus, creating a sphincter. The food is in my mouth, mastication, salivation, and then boom, to the oropharynx. And then from the oropharynx, I wanted to reach the esophagus. So therefore, I need to protect the nose, because I do not want my food to go back to my nose. That would be crazy. And I want to protect my larynx, because I do not want the food to go in the wrong tube. I do not want it to go into the windpipe or the trachea. Who's gonna close the nasopharynx during swallowing? Answer: the soft palate. Thanks to the two famous muscles, levator veli palatini and the tensor veli palatini. What does the word veli mean? It means soft palate. Here is a question for you. What's the nerve supply for this tensor palatine muscle? Let me know the answer in the comment section. Alright, so I protected my nose. How do I protect the larynx then? How do I protect my trachea? Well, elevate the larynx and close its aperture by the lovely epiglottis. Epiglottis lies above the glottis. Okay, so I chewed my food thanks to the muscles of mastication, and I helped cool down my food, digest some of it, especially carbohydrates, thanks to salivation. Next is to deglutate, i.e. swallow. Again, the parasympathetic is a friend, but the sympathetic is a foe, because parasympathetic is rest and digest, but the sympathetic is fight, flight. What are the cranial nerves that help me with mastication? The answer is V3, the mandibular branch of the trigeminal nerve. What are the two nerves that help me salivate? 7 and 9, facial and glossopharyngeal. Once you go more posterior to that, near the most posterior part of the tongue and the palate, vagus is gonna help. So let's talk about deglutition. It's the propulsion of food from the mouth to the stomach by passing through the oropharynx and the esophagus. Where is the swallowing center? In the medulla. I've told you before in the autonomic nervous system that the medulla has 4 vital centers that you have to memorize. Heart and lungs, get it in, get it out. Heart and lungs, get it in, get it out. Cardiovascular center is in the medulla. Respiratory center or breathing center, medulla. Swallowing center, medulla. Vomiting center, medulla. The swallowing starts in the medulla. Swallowing happens in 3 phases. The first one is voluntary, 2 and 3 are involuntary. Tell me about the first phase. Well, the food is in your mouth. This is the buccal or the oral phase. Your tongue will rise, the food will slide backwards, the food will get compressed between your tongue and the palate. The mylohyoid will contract as well. The food will roll backwards and backwards and backwards until boom, pharyngeal phase. Now it's involuntary. What's the stimulus for this involuntary reflex? The presence of food in the pharynx. What's the receptor? On the tonsillar pillars. Afferent cranial nerve 9, that's the glossopharyngeal. As you go more backwards, 10 will get involved as well. What's the center? As you know, cranial nerves 9, 10, 11, 12 are in the medulla. So 9 and 10 are in the medulla, of course. What's the efferent then? 9 and 10 mostly. Mandibular might help because it supplies the tensor veli palatini. My pharyngeal constrictor muscles will contract, including superior, middle, and inferior. Upper esophageal sphincter will relax to let the food into the esophagus. Then protect my nose by elevation of the soft palate. Protect my larynx by elevating it to get covered by the epiglottis. And then elevate the tongue even more and pull the 2 palatopharyngeal folds closer to each other, i.e. medially. This will create a narrow slit in your pharynx to let the food through it. And that's why you will notice that if you try to swallow a very big piece of food, it's impeded in your pharynx. During swallowing, your breathing is paused momentarily. Next, esophageal phase. Primary peristalsis to get everything to the stomach. But what if we have still some teeny tiny bit of debris remaining behind? Well, that's the reason for the secondary peristalsis to work. The upper esophagus is controlled by vagovagal reflexes. Thank you, medulla. Lower esophagus near the stomach is the local reflexes of the enteric nervous system. Thank you, the myenteric plexus. Let's take it to the clinic. I told you that the lower esophageal sphincter is weak. That's why many people suffer from reflux disease. What does that mean? Reflux of the acid from the stomach to the esophagus. We call this gastro-stomach esophageal esophagus reflux disease or GERD.
Okay, Medicosis, what if the acid is harming the stomach itself?
Then it can lead to gastric erosion and then gastric ulcer.
What if it started harming my duodenum?
Duodenal erosion followed by duodenal ulcer.
What's the difference between erosion and ulcer?
I'm glad you asked. Look, this is the lovely epithelium, and this is the basement membrane under the epithelium. If you remove the epithelium alone, it's called erosion. If you remove the epithelium and the basement membrane, it's called an ulcer. Something that your woke professor will never tell you. That's why you need a medicosis in your life. Here's another clinical tie. Too much acid, erosion in the stomach, and then ulcer in the stomach. If it's not treated, it can go even deeper to the submucosa. So now the epithelium is gone, basement membrane is gone, submucosa is gone, and then boom, musculosa is gone, boom, cirrhosis. And then before you know it, you're having internal bleeding, and all of that acid is gonna pour out of the stomach. This can kill you. Perforated ulcers are evil. If you want to learn more about internal bleeding, hemodynamic instability, and many surgical emergencies, download my surgery high yields course. I also have an emergency medicine high yields course and a kidney physiology course and gazillion other courses on my website medicosisperfectionalis.com. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell, and click on the join button. You can support me here or here. Go to my website to download my courses. Be safe, stay happy, study hard. This is Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense.